So there's this classic American television show. It's one of the best. It's been on for years. SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, hear me out. SpongeBob has covered a number of different things in its like 15 to 20-year reign on Nickelodeon. So, in one particular episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob, he's this square sponge who lives in a pineapple, and his best friend is a starfish who lives under a rock, and there's a squid who lives in this giant stone thing, and they like live on the same street. Like that's what the show's about, and then Krusty Krab, and then Sandy Cheeks, Larry the Lobster, and all the other great things. But anyways, SpongeBob has a tendency to be like really, like really loud and annoying and obnoxious and just drives Squidward crazy. So Squidward comes up with this great idea. He's like, today is opposite day. For those of you who've seen SpongeBob will know the episode I'm talking about. And what this does is Squidward tries to get SpongeBob to just be quiet for like a day and just like cool it. Like cool the intensity down, quit being so obnoxious, just shut up, essentially. And so SpongeBob is quiet for the day. But then there's this whole other thing, and then SpongeBob takes things way too seriously, and he starts thinking and blah, 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 and whatever. But the whole point is there's this understanding of opposite. That SpongeBob does he does the opposite of what he would normally do, which is be quiet. In society praises some very interesting things. Society praises beauty, wealth, cleverness, power, achievements, abilities, and all that crap. But in all honesty, are those the things that are going to get us into heaven? No, not even close. Those aren't the things that we should strive for, to be as powerful as possible, as wealthy as possible, or to have the coolest stuff as possible. Those aren't the things that we need to strive for in the Christian life. But those are the things that society says, if you have those things, you got my respect. But what's wrong with that? In the Christian sense of praise, Christians hold up these things called virtues, or kindness, love, charity, service and devotion towards others, service and love to God and to neighbor. Those are the things that Christians hold up. Now, do you think those things would help us get into heaven? Yeah, absolutely. Much more than, having $56 billion or a boat that goes 150 miles an hour or all those other cool toys. The thing is that Christianity sometimes can be the opposite of society. Society always kind of presents this, stupid way of really living, like that you need this in order to be happy, you need this in order to be successful, you need this in order to attain the praise and the respect of others. But how wrong is that? In fact, it is so wrong, because our Christian faith tells us the opposite, that we need to be kind, loving, that if we want to be first in the kingdom of God, then we need to become last here on earth, that we need to lower ourselves to become the servant of all and the slave of all. Sometimes we need to become like children who are loving and accepting of others no matter what. And that's the model that Christ presents for us, is this model of being lowly, this model of being humble, gentle, virtuous, and loving towards others. It's the opposite of what our messed up society will tell us. If we look at a more concrete example, what we see right before us, we see the crucifix. And when we look at it, we see this glorification of Jesus, this beautiful sacrifice, this great act of love, and it's something we worship. The crucifix is everywhere. It's in houses, people wear it on necklaces, keychains, cars, you name it. We got them all over the place. But we see it as, like I said, this something of glory, love, and beauty. But when it happened, it was something so much different. When that happened, it was something of disgust, humiliation, embarrassment, and ugly and horrific to look at. It wasn't seen as something beautiful. It wasn't seen as a great act of love. It wasn't seen as something to be lifted up and to be honored. But Jesus conquered the opposite of the effect of that, because he set the tone for us on how we are being called to live our lives as Christians. You know, when we go before God, I mean, is he going to ask us, it's like, okay, how much money did you make? How powerful were you? How much cool stuff did you have? If he asks that, I'm screwed. So. But in reality, God will ask us, how humble were you? How did you live your faith? How did you serve others? How did you serve me? How did you love others? How did you live lives of virtue? That's what Christ is calling us to do, and that's what we need to strive to do, is the opposite of what this messed up society tells us to strive for. We, as Christians, should strive for love and virtue, as Christ himself has shown us. Because when we look at our life, we take a cold, hard look at it. What are those priorities that we have? Do we prioritize seeking power, fame, and glory? Or do we order our life in seeking goodness, virtues, and the love of God and the love of neighbor? I've been told that I say a lot of times in homilies is that we have a choice, and it's right, because we do, because we have choices constantly. But it is our choice, what we want to pursue. But today, brothers and sisters, let us choose to live lives of Christian virtue, of love of God and love of nature, because that is the way Christians live.